Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we have the Rival MT10 Brushed Edition. I know you guys have seen on this channel the brushless version, but when I saw the Brushed Edition, I felt it was time to get back into the MT10. For those of you that are not aware, I sold my Rival MT10 a while ago. Love the truck, it's just that I wanted to move on, and it was a hot item at the time when I sold it. But I always wanted to get an MT10 back in the collection, and when I saw the brushed one, I thought it was a great opportunity to get this thing back in there. The way that this truck is set up, it's set up perfectly for beginners. I want to start it up from the beginning level, get it all the way up to brushless, and take you guys for the ride. Let's open this box up and let's see what it's all about. There we are, guys, the Rival MT10 Brushed Edition out of the box. Just to make it very clear, guys, this video is going to be for the noob. It's going to be for the new guy into the RC, the guy that's looking for his first RC. For you guys that have already owned the Rival MT10, or if you guys are a little bit more advanced in the hobby, this video is really not going to be for you. You may not get much out of this. But for the noob, this is what we're going to touch on. We're going to touch on this truck. We're going to touch on what you get and things to look out for when you first get this RC to kind of go through it. So with this edition, they provide you with the RC, the controller, the LiPo battery. Remember that, the LiPo battery, not a nickel metal, a LiPo battery, and the charger for the RC. So this is the charger that you're going to get. It's a USB charger. I would say if you're a new person into the RC, invest a little bit more. Get yourself a proper charger. Yes, this will work, but it's going to take some time to charge the battery. I would strongly advise, if you're getting this from your local hobby shop, or even if you're buying it online, go ahead and spend the extra money and get yourself a proper charger. You're going to end up using it more in the long run than this USB charger. Now, Team Associate provides you with some very basic tools for the RC. So they provide you with 3 Allen wrenches. I would like to have seen them actually providing you with a tool to remove the hexes on the truck as well. That would have been nice, but I don't see that in the selection of items for the truck. A tool to remove the hexes for a new person into the hobby. That's going to be another thing that you want to look for is a tool to remove that off. They provide I would say this is more like a quick start guide for them. So this goes through how to set up the ESC, how to set up your servo, what to look for in regards to your throttle commands, your motor, your battery, everything with the truck. Something that if you're a noob, that you should probably go through and look at it. Safety instructions, the user manual for the controller, and then they provide you some marketing material. Go through this if you are looking for other RCs from Team Associated. And then you get the owner's manual for the truck. I would suggest if you are new to the hobby, also review this, go through it. There's a lot of valuable information when it comes to servicing the RC, what to look for if you do run into issues. And if you're a new person into the hobby, it's probably going to be something that you want to start to get abreast into so that if you do run into the things, you know where to go to. And we have the XP120 controller. And this is a controller that they provide with a lot of the Team Associated RC. It is a 2-channel controller. You have the first channel, which is going to be your steering with the foam wheel and your throttle down below. They also provide you with all your trims, so you're going to have reverses for your steering and your throttle. That allows you to change your steering, so if you're noticing that you're turning the wheel left and the wheels are turning right, it allows you to reverse that from the controller, and the same thing with the throttle. If you notice that you're pressing the throttle for forward and you're going reverse, it allows you to reverse those settings on the controller. As for your dual rates, that allows you to turn the amount of steering throw you get from left to right on the controller, and also allows you to limit the throttle. And then we have the steering trim and the throttle trim on the controller that you can adjust. The on-off switch is located right here on the rear. And the controller takes 4 AA's down below. I've owned the brushless edition of this truck. The body does take a fairly good beating. Feels really good. This reminds me of the brushless edition body. It basically is the same thing, but just different color masking up on it. And it feels just as good and sturdy with it. As for the tires, they feel the same compound that is on the brushless edition. These should hold up pretty well to power. This truck also comes with what a lot of people call in the hobby a hairnet or a protective cover over the chassis. This truck comes with a LiPo battery, and this is the LiPo battery that you get. It is a 2S 30C 3300 mAh battery pack, and that should get you up and running. It does have Dean's connectors. Normally, I would say Dean's connectors is not something that you want to run on an RC, at least for brushless. This is brushed. I don't have a problem with running Dean's on here, so it is okay to run the Dean's connector on this brushed RC, but you get a pretty decent hard case pack. And what I mean by hard case pack, you hear that? It is covered with a composite plastic all around versus the soft case pack. Soft pack similar to this one that you see right here. This is a 3S pack. It's a soft case pack. Most people you'll see that are running bashers, they will run a hard case pack. For me, I run soft case, I run hard case. It's whatever I have available. But for most people you'll see for bashers, they're gonna run the hard case packs on them. These wheels are fixed with a 12mm hex. For the shock positions down on the support arms, there are 3 adjustable positions on there. On the shock tower, there are 3 adjustable positions. These shocks are composite shocks. They have a composite shock cap, but they are screw down adjustable and they are oil filled. You can get those fine adjustments on the screw downs. I actually don't mind clips because it's very exact. If you're putting a spacer in there for the ones that are not screw down adjustable, I find that if you're a new person into the hobby, makes the adjustments very exact and easy to do. Screw downs is a little bit more finesse and a little bit more refinement in trying to find the adjustments on it. Unlike the brushless edition, we do not have LEDs on this truck. Toe shackles up in the front, a nice composite shock bumper with a nice support coming off of that in the rear. We have composite skid plates coming off of the front bumper and then another piece going back to the rear of the truck. Camber and toe are adjustable in the front. What I mean by camber and toe is that the camber is where you're angling the wheels more in or more out, up from the top. And the toe is where we're angling the wheels more in and out from the side. So if it was going out like this, that's what we're dealing with. Toe, camber, going that way in and out. And those adjustments are done with these links at the top for camber and the links going to the steering for toe. Drive shafts are telescopic in the front and also in the rear. There is a sway bar on this truck in the front and the rear, also on the brushless edition. And what that does is limits the amount of sway of the truck within turns. If you want to get more movement from the truck, you would remove the sway bars, but then you may create less stability with the truck if you remove those sway bars in the front and the rear. You have a composite Ackerman bar. The hinge pin braces, they are aluminum. Digital servo, all metal gears in the differentials. We have a metal drive shaft going down the center. The great thing about this truck, and especially for a beginner's level, you have 3 differentials in the truck, 2S capable ESC, and a nice big 550 can size motor on the truck. Composite support arms. Then we have a multi-adjustable wheelie bar coming off of the rear shock tower. Chassis is composite. Coming into the hobby, I would suggest go through your wheels, make sure they're glued on properly, make sure they're mounted to the truck properly. Just, look at the bead being right here around the wheel. Just make sure it's glued properly, giving it a good wrench with your hands, and just seeing if it's going to come off that bead. You don't have to be too aggressive, but that's something that you're going to want to do on the RC before taking it out. This being my first model, I would go through the screws, just go through them, just give them a nice little slight tightening to them, just confirming that everything is all nice and mounted up. You just want to make sure that there's not any issues going through it. It's going to take you a little bit of time, but there's nothing wrong with that, guys. Just going through the RC and confirming that everything is nice and snug. Now, don't go too snug on the RC because this is going into plastic, so you don't want to strip the plastic. So you don't want to go too hard and just wrenching it all the way through. But you do want to make sure that everything is snug and you're not going to have anything coming loose on you on the first run. Another thing is that when you roll the RC, You want to check that mesh. So you hear that? Hopefully that's coming up on the camera. It's giving me and sounding like a good mesh. It's not too tight. That's the key thing. You don't want a tight mesh. If it's loose, you don't want that either, but I think a tight mesh is what you really don't want. You can start stripping things out, putting too much strain on the drivetrain of the vehicle, and that's the one that you don't want to happen as much as having a loose one. A loose one, it'll back off, and you'll just have to readjust it, but when it's too tight is when you start to have problems with the truck. For the shocks, you want to make sure that you're getting that nice rebound. So that means the shocks have oil. I wouldn't say taking the shocks apart and just confirming that there's oil in them is necessary. I would say go through your RC when you first get it, check the box, check the bottom of the RC, see if there's any oil residue anywhere. If there's not, just give it a good little bounce and making sure that you're getting that rebound on the truck. Do it also in the rear. Kind of just make sure you're getting that nice rebound with it. Check your angles. This is more so if you have your tools, like if you had a tool to test camber and toe, you could put a tool up against it, just making sure that your camber and toe are going to be properly set on here. For a basher, me, I just give it the eye test. I just want to see where my wheels are angled for the rear, where they're angled in the front, and if everything looks nice, it's cool for me. But you want to make sure, just giving it a good little tug, that's nice and firm. Same thing with the front. There is going to be a little bit of flex in the front, and you want that. You want that coming through. With your LiPo battery that you're getting, you want to make sure that the LiPo is in proper storage mode when you first get it. Just make sure that it's set to the proper. And then for charging, you want to charge this. Once you do get a proper charger, you want to charge this on a balanced charge. Don't do a fast charge, a quick charge on the battery. Take it slow. Do a balanced charge, do it right. The last thing you want is these batteries going up on fire when you're charging them. And then the other key piece of it, one of the things that they don't supply with these trucks, you want to get a LiPo bag. So when you're charging these packs, they need to be in a LiPo bag. And when you're storing them, they need to be in a proper fireproof container, preferably not in your home. That is the one thing that you want to make sure to actually practice proper LiPo safety. That is the one thing you want to do. And when you're charging these packs, try to be around when you're charging them. Don't walk off or leave the batteries unattended. It's not smart to do that. Anything could happen. It's the holidays, and you do not want the worst to happen when it's supposed to be a very happy moment of the year for you and your family. I'm just making sure when I spin the wheels, there's nothing stiffening up there. Diffs are looking good. I mean, if you want to go the extra mile, most people are not going to do this, but if you want to go the extra mile, opening up the diffs, seeing that your diffs are looking good, that's the extra mile on the truck. I typically don't do that. I typically go out and bash, and when I have an issue, that's when I start cracking open the diffs and making sure that they are properly greased. I will do that if I have a certain type of truck. If I have a truck that I know that I'm going to bleed a certain amount of power to the front wheels, I will go ahead and tear open those diffs and adjusting thicker diff fluid in them. But for the most part, I'll give the first run, see how the truck performs, and then afterwards adjust from there. When you're going out for your first run, do not just take the truck, throw a pack in there, and run out to your favorite location with the truck. You will find the truck will fail on you. And the reason for that is you have not properly tested before leaving your house. So what I typically do, once I get my pack charged up, I'll put it in the trucks, I'll test the throttle, test the steering, give it a few passes around my house, and then I'll take it to my location, because typically I don't run at my house. So I don't want to drive 30, 40, sometimes an hour to a location and then find out that I didn't get this truck up and running, or I didn't properly test out the pack before actually going out. That's the one thing you want to make sure you do once you're ready to go out and bash, that you have tested the RC before leaving the house. So guys, we've done an overview of the Rival MT10. I've discussed some tips and tricks for the new hobbyists getting this RC. If you guys are experienced in the hobby and are watching this video and you have some tips for the noobs coming into the hobby that would like to buy the Rival MT10, leave your comments down below. I don't have all of them. I just gave you guys a handful. But leave the comments that you may have, or what you guys do, or what you guys would have hoped that someone would have told you when you came into the hobby, down in below. I'd like to read them. I'm pretty sure some of the noobs would like to read them as well. But we're going to leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.